Just a reminder, the meeting was recorded and available to view on the Council's website. And could I now ask IT colleagues to start the recording? And could I now ask Lynn to call for the said and intimate apologies?
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, members. If you hear your name, can you confirm your attendance, please? Councillor Reid?
Here.
Councillor McMahon?
Excellent.
Councillor McFadden? Councillor Cowan?
Here.
Councillor Linton?
Here.
Councillor Barton?
Here, Lynn, thanks.
Councillor Douglas?
Here, Lynn.
Councillor Ingram?
Here, Lynn, thanks.
Councillor Maitland? Here. Councillor Mabin?
Here, thanks, Lynn.
Councillor Filson? And we have apologies from Dr David Lewis, Reverend Harriet Johnson, Babs Mowat, Hazel Malacotti and John Semple. And a call again for Councillor McFadden and Councillor Filson. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks very much, Lynn. And we've got the usual declaration of interest. Don't believe there's anything significant unless anyone wants to declare something. If there's no declarations, go to item 2E, and that's a policy review schedule, and Amanda will take us through that. Amanda.
Thanks, Chair. Morning, members. The purpose of this report is to recommend to Cabinet proposed changes and updates to employment policies detailed in paragraph 2. The background is in paragraphs 3 through to 5 and is the standard background for this report. Paragraph 7 details the changes to the smoking in the workplace policy, which are mostly administrative or update of terminology and to strengthen the reference to vapes and vaping. It also adds in the reference at 1.4 to the Scottish Government Tobacco and Vaping Framework Roadmap for 2034. The second policy within this report is deployment and career pathways. Again, the mostly administrative changes. The practices are currently in place but are being more explicit within the policies to avoid any confusion and misunderstanding. The bullet points there, there's several, as I say, mostly administrative. In paragraph section 2.2 updates that employees with 2 to 4 years completed continuous service will be placed in redeployment for 4 weeks. Thereafter, employees with 5 or more will have 1 additional week added for each year up to 12 weeks. 4.5 update in the termination given will be 4 weeks for those employees again with 2 to 4 weeks, and then 1 further week up to 12. These again are already in practice, but it's about spelling them out in the policy for avoidance of doubt. The proposals and all the documentation has been updated. EQIAs have been carried out, and the recommendations are in paragraph 2, and happy to take any questions.
So Amanda, any questions? It's quite okay. Can we agree the recommendations then? Okay, thanks for that, colleagues. And that's the end of the E items, but there's no E members here. But so just continue on. Item 3 is the Ayrshire Growth Deal, Building Digital Capital Programme. David.
Yeah, thank you, Chair. The report presented today sets out the work that's been carried on through the Ayrshire Growth Deal on the building digital capital proposals. Basically, the proposals are set out in the report in detail and kind of highlight the work that's been carried on between the work to develop the subsea cable and the infrastructure, which was part of a £14 million Ayrshire Growth Deal project. That work historically was reviewed both by the lead authority, South Ayrshire Council, in partnership with the other 2 authorities and other partners and the UK and Scottish Government. And it was identified in December 2022 that there was a lack of viability to develop that case. That then meant that there was a task there for the senior responsible officers for the 3 councils, including myself and the Section 95 officer, to work through a programme to identify an alternative solution for the £14 million investment. That £14 million investment was looks at how to support the business sector within the Growth Deal projects on and taking forward a a programme of works that will help support and bolster the growth deal projects within each of the 3 environments. We are in a situation where the Cabinet have seen before the updates on the UK Government's 5G IR project and the success we've had there. And in doing so, we've created a digital economy, which we've are utilising as a kind of catalyst for the change both in the business gateway and business support sectors and also the Ayrshire growth deal. In taking the options appraisal forward that we devised, we identified that it was as prudent through a change management process to invest this money into the kind of key projects within the Ayrshire growth deal. And paragraphs 9 through to 12 set out the Building Digital Capital programme. So the kind of key programme aims there are to enhance digital connectivity, the overall infrastructure and skills across Ayrshire to drive economic growth and inclusion. So we did take the opportunity to align the 5G IR programme with these proposals so that there was harmony. And as I've mentioned earlier, that we were creating a Ayrshire digital economy ecosystem. So we now have a situation where we have a board in place that was driving 5G IR, and it was looking at how to develop that board into one that would support the Ayrshire growth deal. Paragraph 13 sets out the £14 million, how it was originally allocated, and the Building Digital Capital Programme allocation breakdown highlights that East Ayrshire will be allocated the money amounting to just more than 4 million. As proposed that as part of this overall allocation, that would top slice £300,000 from that fund, and I'll just give details of that in a moment. Paragraph 15 sets out how East Ayrshire are looking to utilise what effectively is £3.9 million into digital infrastructure, adoption of digital technologies within the businesses. And so, as an example, when we take forward the Ayrshire Innovation Park, if a business is coming to the site, it will have 5G connectivity. It will have the ability to tap into source funding through this capital programme to support a whole range of different digital technology. So one example would be if an engineering unit was to take forward robotics, the digital component of that could be supported through this funding. We're also looking at working with the Ayrshire College and University of West of Scotland as part of the skills and training programme, and that will be also aligned to the work that the education and skills team will be taking forward at school level. In terms of the allocation at core, we're looking at supporting the digital infrastructure both in the programmes where we have demonstrator programmes, so to look at smart technologies within the various demonstrator programmes that were brought forward to the March Cabinet, and we're also looking at how that funding would help support the centre, the skills centre and centre of excellence at that's proposed under that programme. Paragraphs 18 through to 22 talks through the Ayrshire Digital Intelligence Hub. One of the issues that we do have is that we need to pull together digital information more succinctly, and it's proposed that we get in partnership through a knowledge transfer partnership through the UWS to take that forward. The idea is to use artificial intelligence to help us support the digital programme moving forward, and to work with all our external partners to support this. That programme is while there's £150,000 committed from this fund, it is also looking at a programme of funding where the UWS take that forward through the knowledge transfer partnership to get external funding for that. The other aspect of the overall programme, the programme requires to be managed. It was originally going to be managed lead authority as South Ayrshire Council. South Ayrshire Council had not the resources to take this forward at the time. So as we are going to be the first project coming out of the ground as far as the Ayrshire Innovation Park is concerned, we are looking to utilise one of our business advisors who specialises in the digital economy presently under the 5G Innovation Region programme to get the external funding from South and North through this programme to be supported to take the project programme coordination forward. That I would say has been taken through HR and through job evaluation, and all matters are being regularised there. In terms of the actual oversight of the proposals, it is intended to utilise the 5G board that's already set up, which covers the Digital Economy Master Plan Group, the Ayrshire Growth Deal Business Building Digital Capacity Delivery Team, the 5GR Delivery Team, and the Ayrshire Digital Ecosystem Partnership Group, and to bring that together under this investment board, which will then report through the Regional Economic Partnership and the Ayrshire Economic Joint Committee. And there will be a report coming forward to the Regional Economic Partnership and Joint Committee on the 5th of September that sets this out in detail. In terms of the rest of the report, the governance requirements are listed in paragraphs 20 through to 30, and it's clear that we're working under the auspices of the governance set up through the Ayrshire Growth Deal, and this subcommittee can align with that. In terms of people and culture, paragraph 31 sets out the proposals there. So just to be clear that the Digital Economy Officer's post, while it's graded G12, would have been funded from our element, a portion of the growth deal funds, and there's going to be a top slice of money that will make a contribution from North and South Ayrshire councils to support that element. In terms of the financials are set out in paragraphs 33. This is a 5-year programme, and obviously that helps to support the work of the growth deal and providing that added value to the East Growth Deal project. In terms of the Ayrshire Innovation Park, I would add that through Scotland Excel and other procurement matters, we have Vodafone as a key partner, and that key partner will be able to take forward some of the key digital infrastructure at these sites, and that will include also the added value of the company themselves looking to upgrade their own network within the Kilmarnock area as they do that in terms of the Muirfield site. Chair, that's a very quick summary of the report. I'm happy to answer any questions, but this is a proposal that sees the East Ayrshire take over the lead of this programme, and doing so that we can lead on the Ayrshire Innovation Park, and then this allows us to start to go forward with our final business case, which will then draw down funding for the Innovation Park to align with the existing £39.5 million that we've already seen invested in that site. So happy to answer any questions, Chair.
Thanks, David. I think that's a really exciting programme, and I think I've seen firsthand some of the visits around some companies with yourself and Eddie and others, just to see how important this is, 5G, and giving companies a competitive edge, and how important it is to grow their businesses, and it's really quite exciting. Even with the recent fire in King Street, I was aware just how digital connectivity is really, really important to all businesses, and it's really more and more quite sophisticated, and when we met some of these businesses, that was a real concern for them as well. But this, in terms of establishing some new businesses and new technologies locally, I think this is really, really exciting. I think one of the things with the growth deal, I think we've been really, it's good to see us take a lead in this particular sector, because I think there's kind of a bit of frustration out there in terms of tangible delivery of the growth deal, and I think if we can show that through this, I think that will be helpful. But I think you mentioned going back to the future discussions with our two authorities. I think this is something that we'll have to address as well. But it's good to see this leading the way as in terms of delivering something that people can see the actual benefits and helping grow the Ayrshire economy. I'm really quite excited about it. Members, Graham and Somebody else. Who?
Thanks for that. Thanks to the paper, David. It's really good to see a focus in skills and training. It's really important that we work alongside Ayrshire College and make sure we've got the proper training resources there, so we've got a good local skilled workforce. I'd also like to say that I know on Friday those members of the planning committee can see there's significant progress getting made at AMIC and AAP, and that's come before the planning committee on Friday. So I think it might be a good idea to maybe update the cabinet on the rest of the projects at this point.
Through you, Chair. Yeah, no, that's fine. So Ayrshire Innovation Park is obviously located at out at Moorfield. It's land that we purchased just more than 2 years ago, and we looked at originally the site just been used for the phase 1 of the engineering park. We obviously latterly had the issues with that we couldn't tease out funding for the Belfield interchange, so we looked at bringing the AMIC proposals for the food and drink sector to this site, and in doing so we looked to maximise the infrastructure so that all the roads, sewerage, water, telecommunications, etc., was all under one location. So that site is, as members will probably be aware from previous reports, is now at a stage where we had to go through a final business plan to split the site into stages or phases. Phase 1 is the road infrastructure. That road infrastructure we were just waiting on the final business case that we hope to take to the Regional Economic Partnership and the Joint Committee on the 5th of September. That will give us the green light for the site to progress. In line with that, as you mentioned, Councillor Barton, all the planning conditions relevant to phase 1 for the major development, they are now going up for consideration, and we've got a positive report there from the Chief Planning Officer, and that will allow us to basically to get to a point in the 5th of September to award the contract to Heron Brothers, who are our preferred contractor. So that being the case, that we would anticipate, if all going well, we will then be able to start that road infrastructure sometime in October. So we'll be looking at the first major development, or first 2 major developments for the growth deal to come out the ground starting in October time. So that gives us a chance to get the road infrastructure. That will allow then facilitate a range of engineering units. We're going to have a total floor space up about 7,250 square metre. We're going to have 5 service plots, 3 of which we've got heads of terms with one food company at present, and they're looking to make a major investment in Kilmarnock through utilising 3 plots in that site. And we're also in a number of discussions with a number of other businesses about the engineering units on site as well as the food. The slight issue in terms of the communications, we've always been a bit reticent of starting to fly the flag of what we're doing until we've actually got all our consents in place. We will now have that as well, hopefully as of the 5th of September. In doing so, we can then start to see some real change on the ground. The other parts of the development are subject to other phases, other procurement processes, of which we feel that is the best way to get maximum cost down within the project. We've seen elsewhere in other capital projects that significant costs increase through inflation. We've looked at how we manage that, and in doing so, it's about looking to ensure that each of the projects are defined, and we will be coming out into the marketplace for the construction of the food and drink programme over the next year, and likewise with engineering units. So although the infrastructure will go in, we're working behind the scenes to take forward both the engineering park and the food and drink sector part forward, so that will be effectively completed by 2028. One of the constraints in the site was energy. We have, truth be told, that we have a significant cost that could have been determined for the site of up to about 6.4 million for constraint costs for providing new electrical infrastructure, both to our site and to help support the future of development of any energy at the hospital and the other housing sites. We've worked well in partnership with Spain, and through an Ofgem grant, we've secured £6.4 million in addition to the what effectively a total cost of 43.5 million to the site. So that has helped us take that forward. We are now in a position then that we can then start to hit the green light for that site. So that's where we are with the proposals there. We're just waiting on the final comments coming back from UK and Scottish Government about the final business case for phase 1, and that will be fed into the report that we were looking to provide. And what we'll say is it was our anticipation on, I think, the 3rd of September at Cabinet to bring forward an overview report just to give members full awareness of some of the things I've just highlighted in the last roundup there. The other thing to mention is that we are working with SSE, and we've got a memorandum of understanding with them to look at behind the wire energy for these units, and also to link in with the hospital. And that is something that we're working to see whether we can get some real added value there by taking that forward. In terms of core, members will remember in March that we brought forward the report setting out demonstrator projects. Demonstrator projects have been through procurement. We are in the final business case. I have a meeting with government tomorrow to set out what the, to try and get an agreement on moving that forward. And if that is the case, we'll then be bringing a report back to the Regional Economic Partnership and the Joint Committee to get approval to progress with those. And members will recall there was 6 projects there. We are looking at bringing forward a 7th, which would be the work we're have invested in with Emergency 1 to look at some form of mini skills academy within the Emergency 1's unit, and the ground floor of what many colleagues will remember was the former Ayrshire Cumnock College. So we're looking at an opportunity there for a close working with Ayrshire College and UWS for training for HGV, EV technicians and hydrogen courses, so that we don't have the ability to send people halfway around the UK to go in those courses. And we see that as an emerging market, which we're working with the college and Emergency 1 on to help support. So bringing in business to be the catalyst for that change. The other parts of the demonstrators, we actually have, and so far in the 6 demonstrators, brought in an additional value of £1.3 million in external funding, and that money is helping towards develop these projects. So that will, once we get to a point with a final business case, we'll be able to come up and provide an overview to members on the implementation programme for that. In terms of the vocational skills project, what was originally a Centre of Excellence in the Skills Academy, obviously that's looking at providing training and development for people within the area, and as you've heard the Chief Executive highlighting about the demography issues, about it's how to get local people and get the skills, and we're working with all the University of West Scotland, Strathclyde and Ayrshire College to get a solution there. And I think it's been well highlighted in the report, and obviously as part of any final business case, before we get it to the stage we need to have a final business case for that programme, we need to ensure that we've got a revenue model that operates. So all in all, there's a lot of work getting done behind the scenes. It's unfortunate that we're not at a stage with that project just to highlight the overall benefits in terms of delivery on the ground, but we are working towards that. So we'll be bringing a report back. So that gives a summary of, you've heard about building digital capital programme, Ayrshire Innovation Park with 2 projects in the core. And the last thing to say, the revenue projects, we've obviously concluded in community wealth building. That's now embedded within the work that we're doing in terms of the overall business support and economic development work. In terms of support for businesses for the Ayrshire Skills Investment Fund, that work still continues, and we are, let's say, punching above our weight in terms of the funding within that fund, which is helping a number of businesses within East Ayrshire to help with bespoke training for some of the most disadvantaged people. We are also looking at the fairer work and helping businesses take forward support for fairer work. So that probably provides an overall idea of where we are in East Ayrshire. And again, we work with colleagues in North and South just to keep that programme going on. And obviously there is going to be an Ayrshire growth deal performance monitoring report that will be agreed. And once that is agreed, we'll be looking at providing a kind of an awareness session for, councillors, the Regional Economic Partnership, MSPs and MPs, just to kind of raise the awareness of just where we are with each of all those projects. So hopefully that gives an overview of where we are, Councillor Barton, and through you, Chair, happy to answer any questions on that.
Thanks, David. I think we'd welcome the further report and, just and note some of the progress. But I think we really need to see some tangible evidence of, the growth deal project being delivered as soon as we can. I know that's, and hopefully in the next few months we'll be able to do that. So I think we need to deal with that as a matter of urgency. I think we need to see results, not just hear about ambitious plans. They're good too, but I think that's if we could look to do that towards certainly before the end of the calendar year, I would like to see.
Just add to that, Chair, just some of the funding I mentioned, that 1.3 million is linked into time slots, and i.e. in the financial year. So in order to get some of that money utilised, the projects have to come to fruition. So the governments are aware of that, and that's why I've kind of called a meeting to get them round the table, not to keep coming back to us with questions, but to actually to get firm commitment from them that they can sign off on each of the proposals.
No, that's great. I appreciate it. Somebody saw yesterday up at the Halo in Hill Street, just some example of really ambitious plans for the future in terms of cable technology and what that means to the renewable sector. And this could be real serious, good quality jobs into Ayrshire, and that East Ayrshire is a big part of that. So, I think it would be helpful if members could see that up front, and we can maybe look at that just the months ahead and give that as much support as we can. There's a couple of Ian.
Thanks, Dougie, and can I thank David for his wide-ranging update and all the various things that are going on in East Ayrshire. With regards to today's paper, I think it's absolutely critical that we take the lead role in the digital infrastructure update, given the advanced stages. We've heard from David, in particular around about Moorfield. I think we really have to get this right, and I think having the lead role certainly helps that and keeps things moving in the right direction. So I welcome that from today's paper.
Thanks, Ian. Okay, anyone else? Drew.
Thanks, Chair. David, you answered my first question. When was it going to start? And I think you said October. I'm just wondering whether there's maybe a wee liaison group getting set up with Cross House Hospital, again, just to keep them up to date what's happening. It really is good to be. It's not got no easy site this to work with the amount of traffic it's on, going to the hospital back and forward, access points and stuff like that again. So you mentioned energy there as well, an energy connection again. If I just hope the contractors on top of their brief basically again, just to minimise any disruption to Cross House Hospital itself, but just to let staff know as well, just what's actually going on there, maybe traffic hold-ups and things like that. So it'd be quite good. So maybe you could answer that, David.
Yeah, sure. Through you, Chair. Yeah. So part of the planning condition and the major application was a construction traffic management plan. Obviously that was part of consultation with the hospital. The hospital wanted to see sight of that and be satisfied with that. That is still the case. We've been liaising with the hospital through the design team and that will now start once we've given the green light to contractor, because while we at the design team have kind of looked at making sure we've dotted the I's, crossed the T's, it's now over to the contractor to deliver that. So part of the process is we've looked at taking on board all the kind of issues. While there will be an access initially at the roundabout, the main, access for all the, materials in and out of the site will be down at the Moorfield, so it'll be away from the main roundabout. It'll be in a long straight where the junction, just next to where the junction will be. So we've worked with the developer on that, and as such that we've kind of made him fully aware that not only as a planning authority, there'll be keen eyes to make sure that they fully comply and make sure that road is kept up to the standard it should be. We as a council, we want to kind of lead by example in that. So it's a case of making sure, notwithstanding all that, apologies, and notwithstanding all that, we will have a situation where there will be roadworks, and there will be that's going to be supervised by ARA. So, for instance, there'll be a water connection there'll need to be roadworks in the main road coming from there into the site. So that's what's the developer taking forward. There'll also be, ultimately there'll be works on the main road to provide access from the site into the hospital as part of the connectivity. So all in all, it's about looking at how to minimise that. And one of the concerns that we had, and as well as the ARA, was the fact that the number of vehicle movements will be huge in some cases in terms of any site of that. So it's making sure that we look at working with the hospital to make sure that we can work in harmony as that rather than opposed to one another.
Thanks for the reassurances. Thank you.
It's a good point, Drew, and I think with the construction traffic at Moorfield and Farderhall as well, it's no insignificant. So it's something that you just need to keep an eye on. Jim?
Thanks again. Thanks for that, David. Again, just to reiterate what Doug has already said about the companies that we've visited and the innovation of that 5G and the advantages that's really gave companies both on the expansion of their business, but also actually on site and seeing how they can reduce times in that process, that business. And we've already saw that within some of our own sections within the council as well. If I could just maybe move on, I'll be a bit more about the core. And the core project, and I'm absolutely delighted to hear that attraction and our £1.3 million worth of funding that's certainly going to assist on that. I think time, as far as processes and technology goes, maybe been advantageous to not being able to deliver that building at this particular time. I can say this again, I'm not actually precious about what that building looks like and where it goes, but one thing I'm really keen on, and it's going to be sustainable for us. That must be sustainable. It's the skill centre, and that skill centre for excellence. You've already touched on some of the innovations with the E1 and what we've been doing with E1. I think with the onset of hydrogen, I think this could be coming just about the right time for us. The 6 projects, I really look forward to seeing them being, or at least one of them started, and maybe some of them completed as that moves forward. But it's just reassurance again, running about the core, that must be sustainable, David, as that goes forward, and whatever that building looks like, it's going to be sustainable.
Through you, Chair, it's we have a lot of hoops to jump through with the Green Treasury booth, which makes sure it has to be sustainable. That revenue situation is clear, but before I get through those hoops, I have to convince the Chief Executive and the Section 95 officer. So that's you're right in that it has to be sustainable, and we're working with a number of partners just now. As I say, the college, the UWS, and Strathclyde, and a number of businesses, and it's about how we make sure that financial model is such that it delivers what's intended to do. We've said in the report in March as well that that fund, if we get through all that due diligence and ultimately we can't get the revenue model to work, then we need to come back and highlight that, and then look at how we better manage these funds.
So based on what you're saying and that convincing of the chief executive in the section 95, how far are we doing that road? The convincing them, and when can we expect something more concrete on the on the ground?
We've met with all the parties, and it's just now about, you know, teasing out what their, you know, what any kind of financial contribution is going to be, and then what that financial model is for, because the businesses, some of this revenue will come from the business sector paying for those, you know, bespoke types of training courses, and it's just working that out, and that's something that we have to rely on, you know, the various partners to set out in that business model. So we have a time scale that we're looking over the next couple of months to bring that to conclusion, and then we'll obviously bring a report back and the outcome of that thereafter. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Andy. Thanks for the contribution there. I think really appreciate the work, David, that you and your team have done here, and your ability, and hopefully in September, to take over as the lead authority in this as well, to add to the amount of work that you have to take on board just now. I really appreciate that. That's done. We're just, you know, we realise what an important delivery this can be to support business and support the economy, and we wish it well. Okay, if there's no other comments, can we agree the recommendations? Okay, thanks for that. And we go to item 4, which is Auckland Conservation Area Regeneration Scheme Project Update and Revised Action Plan. Yourself again, Dave.
Yeah, that's myself again, Chair, and I've got Colin McKee who's leading this project with me, so can answer any questions if need be. So this report, members in Cabinet will recall that we brought a report to Cabinet on the 15th of January, just setting out how we're going to reallocate funds, particularly regarding 8 to 12 Errol Street, and then I was obviously looking at how the financial allocation for other projects, including Pussy Nancy's, was going to take forward. We're also looking at the creation of a contingency fund. So we have went through this process, and obviously at the same time there's been a lot of structural work's been carried out on site, as you know, members who drive through Mauchline will have seen. Most of those works have been involved in, you know, structural repairs to the main infrastructure within the roofs, etc., of the buildings. From the kind of current position is that we've paragraph 6 sets out 6 onwards sets out the kind of position where we have looked at working with the businesses and owners of the buildings to take forward. We have a situation where Pussy Nancy's, in terms of overall fund, they've withdrawn from their proposal at their request. We have a situation where some of the projects has been overspends in the requirement to do new essential works as required under the cause when you're going into disruptive situations with an old building. We've also got where there's additional works in paragraphs 6 through to 9 set that out. We're also looking at a situation where the Mauchline Churchyard boundary wall there was an initial indicative cost of 30k, and that's looked to go up to 65 in terms of tender prices. So overall, we have a situation where there's projects changes within the overall programme. That's meant that we're looking at an increase to contingency set out in the table of £150,000, which when added to the existing contingency takes up to, I think, circa about £171,000. So in taking matters forward, we're looking at finishing off the existing projects that are there within the programme timescale. Paragraph 10 sets out the priority criteria that we agreed at previous Cabinet, and just to reiterate that. So that there is an option as we get, you know, move through and complete all the projects that are in play, to look at how we get some short-term wins with other possibly new projects coming to the fore to accommodate some allow us to spend the contingency fund. So it will be in paragraph sets out that we'll be looking to upgrade the Auckland Cars Action Plan, and that's set out in the appendix. And in terms of paragraphs 13 and 14, we set out that the kind of financial position in terms of overall allocations from both the council and the external partners, and then from that we have a contingency there, £171,000. We're in a position where just to kind of highlight that the overall CARS programme has been progressing well. We've got 4 projects complete and the contractors on site with 3, and we'll obviously be linking in with Historic Environment Scotland regarding the variations that we've got to date. So there's quite a lot in the appendix, Chair, but happy to answer any questions, and the recommendations are set out in paragraph 2.
Thanks very much for the update, David. I think we could see a bit of progress here and understand the reasons. You mentioned Pussy Nancy's and why they're not progressing. But I've had suggestions from local members and local community about possible public realm, and specifically about a mural. I think the success at New Mills and Darville's maybe encouraging. I think folk have been impressed with that. It's maybe something just worth investigating. I don't know. Or any kind of shop front money, if there is money left, it'd be good to, if it can enhance the CARS project, maybe it's something worth having a look at. Linda.
Thanks, Leader. David, can I just raise a wee issue of Pussy Nancy's? It's really disappointing to see that the new owners withdrawn. I'm assuming that there was negotiations, hopefully, to try and get them to remain in the project, which obviously haven't worked out. But it's a very, very prominent building with obviously a massive amount of history. So it's really just, and I'm not casting blame or anything, but it's just really quite disappointing to see that building in particular, because when you drive through now and you see the cross and the work they've done there, I mean, it's like night and day, especially the building where the Cobb Cafe is. Things like that, and then the side of the Barbers, when you see that now, because when you're sitting at the traffic lights you see it, and it is really good what they've done. So it's just a bit sad that Pussy Nancy's being the building it is not going to be included.
Yeah, no, I think we agree with that, Councillor Maben. I think there's been a lot of projects within this scheme that we'd like to take forward. When we've evolution from the original concept with a lot of owners right through to where we are now, there's buildings we'd like to see more. I think there's also the situation, and just to pick up the other point that Councillor Reid made, was that with the contingency fund, we will look at other options. I think one of the things is there's been a lot of structural works carried out in the buildings, and yeah, they'll be there for hopefully another couple of 100 years. But superficially, it does probably highlight the opportunities that could be made. So looking at shop fronts and possibly painting schemes within that might help. I think the works that we certainly need to take forward were, external works, and maybe Colin, you could offer some kind of overview of just the discussions with the owners at Pussy Nancy, just to kind of highlight where we've been with them.
Chair, through you, Councillor, we have had several meetings with the new owner of Pussy Nancy's, and he was clearly on board at one point, and he instructed additional drawings, etc., to be done, and then there was a change in heart, and he was basically concerned at, I think, the extent of his contribution to the scheme, that he would have to contribute potentially 25% of the overall cost of the works. And I think just being new to that particular business, he wasn't sure in terms of its sustainability, etc., given that type of investment. So unfortunately, he was looking to do a lot of internal works to try and improve the usability of the building. He wasn't particularly interested in the external of the building, and unfortunately, yes, the front part of the building is actually in not too bad condition. The rear part of the building is in a very, very poor state, and we would ideally, love to be able to improve that, but without his acceptance and support, there's nothing further we can do with that.
It's got no agree. I mean, it's frustrating. And I remember, when we did the Kilmarnock cars, before we get 100% funding and still we're not progressing. So it's sometimes, when you can see you get that amount of investment in a property on, why they don't take that, but that's up to them. They've got business decisions to make, I suppose. But the only thing I was suggesting, that the money's not lost in demockling cars, and hopefully we can get projects that can enhance what we've got there, and work with the community and local members to come up with suggestions. Okay.
Yeah, no, just to answer that, Chair, yeah, I mean, I don't think we've given any money back as a council to any external funders, and we don't intend to in this one as well. So it's a case of working through, making sure the projects that are coming to completion, we get them in under the revised budgets and see what we've got left, and in doing so, parallel to that, establishing what other, quick win programmes can be, whether that's short fronts, external painting. You've mentioned about, other types of options there. We'll look at that, check the eligibility, and make sure we can take that one forward.
Okay, thanks, David. Anyone else? Okay, can we agree the recommendations? Okay, and now go to exclusion of press and public and ask that IT recording stopped.